This molad clock, the 24-hour molad clock that the Rambam's using, it says, well, the molad is like 5:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, and the sun went down. This is December. The sun went down at 4:40 in the afternoon. No, it's still considered that day, the previous day, because this is a 24-hour clock that doesn't look at individual sunsets. And then someone asked a good question. Wait a minute. When is this 24-hour clock anchored? At least according to the standard clock that we use, the people in England at the Greenwich Observatory declared that they have the meridian, and they chose quite arbitrarily which day of the year to use as the basis for that. One day of the year, day they call 12 noon, according to their 24-hour repeating clock, will actually be 12 noon. But all the other days of the year, it's not. Okay, so really no one actually knows when this is. That's why I pointed out the Tim Levina calendar has 4 different opinions, none of which beat the other ones, and I don't think any of them are actually have any merit over the others. No one could possibly know such a thing when this was. But either way, this is the Moladoth. This is what you see on the screen in front of you. And the rule is the day of the Molad is Rosh Hashanah, unless we have to push it off for some reason. For example, the first one is Molad Zakein. If this Molad is after 12 p.m. or 18 hours of this 24-hour day, then we push it off to the next day. We push off Rosh Hashanah. Likewise, if one of those days is going to be Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday, the Lo Adu rule, and these two can combine. If, let's say, the Molad's on Thursday afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon according to this clock, so the Rosh Hashanah will be pushed to Friday, and then, because of Lo Adu, the Rosh Hashanah will be pushed to Shabbos. Those dichiyot often work hand in hand. Now, there's only one particular day of the week where Molad Zakein doesn't also work with Lo Adu, and that is on Monday. Molad Zakein on Monday means you're going to have Rosh Hashanah on Tuesday, because Tuesday is also a cromulent day for Rosh Hashanah. All the other days, Molad Zakein pushes Rosh Hashanah to one of the Adu days and then pushes it again. And when the Molad isn't Adu anyways, we get pushed one day. And then there's Batu Takpat and Gatrad. Batu Takpat tells us that if the Molad is on a Monday after a leap year, and it's already 2, that's 15 hours a day, which means basically 9 o'clock in the morning, a little bit earlier, Batu Takpat and a certain number of Halokim, basically the Molad Zakein Dichya, but made earlier by about 2 hours and change. So we also push off Rosh Hashanah to Tuesday. And Gatrad tells you that if it's a Shana Pshuta, irrelevant if the previous year was a leap year, that means a standard year, a non-leap year, and the Molad is on Tuesday, and it's Gatrad, which means it's 9 hours and 204 halakim into the day. 9 hours, according to this clock, is after 3 a.m. 3 a.m. on the clock, and 204 halakim, which is about a fifth of an hour or so, a little bit more than a fifth of an hour, a little bit less than a fifth of an hour. So we're also going to push off the Rosh Hashanah to Wednesday, and Wednesday gets pushed to Thursday. So those are the dichiyot. Either way, here is the example we're looking at. It says, for the year 5787, the Molad of Tishrei will be Shabbos, Leil Shabbos, at 2 a.m., okay, and 1,063 halakim. How that connects to the exact clock, it's going to be around 2 a.m., but no one knows exactly when, according to our clock. By the way, that means that day, Shabbos, will be Rosh Hashanah. So I'll write in over here, 1 Tishrei. Okay? That's how we figure this out. 1 Tishrei. And then we go to the end of the year. We see that Molad Tishrei, going to be at the beginning of the next year, is going to be Leil Shishi, 0 hours and 572 halakim. That basically means 6:30 p.m. But it's on Friday. So that means we're going to push Rosh Hashanah to Shabbos. Okay, it's going to be over here. It's going to be 1 Tishrei of the following year. And that's it. Now that we know the length of the year, this is supposed to be a leap year, according to over here, we have here. It's not showing up on the screen. Sorry, you didn't let someone in. Okay, we have here. I'll share the complete screen. Hold on one second. Here we go. Here, I'll share the screen. Here you go.
I'm sorry, I'm not. When's Mincha Katana?
When is Mincha Katana today?
No, just how many hours in the
Mincha Katana starts 9.5 hours of the day until Plag.
Okay.
So Mincha Katana should be 2.5 hours if it goes to sunset. And then Mincha Katana is chopped in half. The first half is known as Mincha Katana. The second half is known as Plaga Mincha. Goes after Plaga Mincha.
Right.
So Mincha Katana basically spans 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay? Okay. Sure. Fine. So I hope everybody can see what we have over here. This is a luach put out by a Tar Yeshiva showing the Moladot for this various year. Okay? This year specifically. So it's going to be a leap year. So we know it's a leap year. And we could count the number of days. We find that it's a leap year with 385 days. That's it. The leap year is 385 days. So it's a Shana Shlema. Okay? So a year can either be deficient, means it has 383 days, Kassidra, the way it's supposed to be, 384, or full, 385. So too, Shana Pshuta, a non-leap year, has those numbers minus 30. So that would be 353, 354, 355. Why minus 30? Because the leap month, Adar Rishon, is always 30 days long. That's what you add, and that's like a set rule. The Rambam says the months all have set lengths, basically alternating full and deficient, 30 days or 29 days, except for Mar Cheshvan and Kislev. That's where that's where you have a little bit of play in the joints. So if you have to add a day to the year, you add a day to Mar Cheshvan, make it 30 days instead of 29. Minas Tam, it has 29. And if you have to subtract a day from the year, you subtract from Kislev, make it go from 30 days to 29 days. All the other months are set in their lengths. Tishrei is 30 days. Mar Cheshvan, Minas Tam, is 29. Teves is 29 days long. Shavat is 30. So is the first Adar. Adar Sheni or Stam Adar are 29. Nisan is 30. Iyar is 29. Sivan is 30. Tammuz is 29. Av is 30. Elul is 29. That's how we do it. And now that we know the lengths of the days, by the way, how do we know how many rows to put in here? 385 is a multiple of 7. It's exactly 55. 385 times 7, 385 divided by 7 is 55. So exactly 55 full weeks in such a year. And that means, as we saw, the Shabbos, the year goes from, sorry, I put this in the wrong column as though I was writing a Hebrew calendar. I mean, in Hebrew. This is the Hebrew calendar, just in English. And there is no English calendar. Yes, thank you for reminding me of that. And this is the only year type, a full leap year, that has exact number of weeks. If you do the calculations, a 353-day year has 50 weeks and 3 extra days. And if you add a day or two to that, you'll get 50 weeks and either 4 extra days or 5 extra days. And in a leap year, you have either 55 full weeks or one day less than that or 2 days less than that. Once we know when Rosh Hashanah is for these individual years, as we see in front of us, hold on, we have to make sure that guys are not locked out, but I don't see it on the screen. Oh, this is pretty cool. Okay. Once we know when Rosh Hashanah is and the lengths of the months are set, we can start filling in when every single month begins without having to look at their molads. I just put, for example, here, tells you the molad of Mar Cheshvan is going to be on Sunday, 1 hour and 15 chalakim, Yom Rishon. Okay, fine. But that basically means as like 7 a.m. or 7:30 or so, according to this clock. No, sorry, 15 show. So that would be 9 a.m. Okay, fine. But when is Rosh Chodesh Mar Cheshvan really? This would be 8th of Tishrei, 15, 22, 29. So this would be the 30th day of Tishrei. See, 30 Tishrei, which is commonly observed also as Rosh Chodesh Mar Cheshvan, and the first of Mar Cheshvan would be over here. That's it. And then we know Mar Cheshvan is going to be full, so we'll skip a few weeks. This is the 8th of Mar Cheshvan, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th. This brings us to the 30th of Mar Cheshvan. Notice I don't have to know when the molad for this Rosh Chodesh Kislev is, because it doesn't matter. And it didn't matter for a few millennia of Jewish history. No one looked at the molad of Kislev to decide when should Kislev start. It was already set by Chazal. So too, Kislev is a 30-day month, which is kind of interesting. That means that when you have these full years, you're basically going to have 3 consecutive full months: Tishrei, Mar Cheshvan, and Kislev. So let's skip forward. Day 8, 15, 22, 29, 30. This would be the 30th of Kislev. Okay? If I make a mistake, someone should correct me here. This would be the first of Teves. This Sunday would be the first of Teves. See how it works? Good. Let's jump a few weeks now. This is the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, 29th of Teves. So over here, we get to the 30th. What would be the 30th of Teves? But Teves is a deficient month. So this is already the first of Shvat. First of Shvat would once again be Shabbos. Did I do this right? No. Oh man, I'm doing this backwards. Hold on one second. Yeah. So this would be Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Shabbos once again. So someone says, oh, that's a little bit confusing. You're going in the wrong direction. Yeah, we did this practice earlier in Hebrew. So I'll put this up on top. We'll add a row so that people can understand this better. Where's the thing? How do I add another row up here? Second, add row above. So you see here. Okay. That's how it works in this case. Also notice that the days observed as Rosh Hashanah are always the next day of the week. So if Rosh Hashanah was observed on the Rosh Chodesh of Tishrei was on Shabbos, the next Rosh Chodeshim are Sunday, Monday. Then we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, until we get back to Shabbos over here. So the first of Shvat is on Shabbos. The 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th. Here's the 30th of Shvat. And then we're going to put because Shabbat is 30 days. Hold on one second. Let I do that. Sorry, I'm very not technological. Switching between these things. This would be the 30th of Shvat. And over here, we're going to get to 1 Adar, Roman numeral 1. See? That's how it works. And then this the 8th, the 9th, sorry, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th. And over here, we'll have the 30th of Adar 1. That means the next day is 1 Adar 2. See? A little bit confusing, but yeah, that's how the calendar goes. This would be the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, and this would be the 30th of Adar 2, but Adar 2 doesn't have a 30th day. So this would be Rosh Chodesh Nisan, already a Thursday. So we'll write 1 Nisan over here. Nisan itself is 30 days. This would be the 8th, the 22nd, the 29th, the 30th. Over the 20. This would be the 30th. So it'd be 30 Nisan. And down here, we'll put the first of ER. ER is 29 days long. So this is the 18th, the 22nd, the 29th. And over here, we already have the no. I must have held down the shift button there. This is the first of Sivan. Sivan is 30 days long. This is the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th. This would be the 30th of Sivan. This would be the first of Tammuz over here. Two M's in Tammuz because there's a dot and a mem. The 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, and this would be the first of Av. Because Tammuz has only 29 days. The 8th, the 15th, this is Tu B'Av. The 22nd, the 29th, this would be the 30th day of Av. And this would be the first day of Elul. And that's our complete calendar. Bring us once again to the first of Tishrei on Shabbos. And basic inspection shows, hold on one second. Yeah. Basically, we see from here that none of these Roshei Chodashim have any rule that connects them to their individual molad. Okay, so here, Mar Cheshvan's molad would be Sunday morning. Okay, fine, Sunday morning. But the first of Mar Cheshvan ended up being when? On Monday. Okay, and then we saw the molad of Kislev, according to over here, would be Yom Shlishi at 4 hours and whatever. Yet we were observing this on Wednesday. We were observing Rosh Chodesh on Wednesday. It gets even crazier when we get to Teves. It says Teves, its molad would be Wednesday at 17 hours and 202 halakim. Yet the first of Teves was actually established on a Friday, 2 days later. There's no rule that tells you, looking at any individual month's molad, when Rosh Chodesh would end up being observed. You just have to look at the Tishreis. You do Tishrei to Tishrei, and then fill in the year based on the number of days, what you're supposed to have, and you put the Rosh Chodashim based on the rules the sages gave us about the lengths of the months. That's it. Which makes you wonder, so why did they start telling people when the molad is? I understand, in the synagogue, they want to tell people before Shabbos when Rosh Chodesh is. Why? Because you have to know when Rosh Chodesh is. There's a nafka mina la'alacha. But why did they start telling people, oh yeah, first tell them when the molad is? Because there's some, it's not even a posek who said this, just an idea in later Hasidim. It's good to know when the molad is before learning when Rosh Chodesh is going to be. Okay, so it's good to know. Good to know somehow. What is it good about it? What do you achieve? I don't know. But either way, in order to benefit everybody, this hakpada, that it's good to know. So you know what? Tell everybody. That way they know. Okay, do most people understand how the molad works? Absolutely not. So what do they get out of it? A Baba Maisa was created that, well, because nowadays they told people, which as we've argued against is not the halach, they told people you can only say Kiddush Levana after 72 hours have passed from the molad. We have to tell everybody when the molad is so that they can then add 72 hours and know not to say the bracha before that point. That is a very strange idea. As we saw, it's dubious. It was unknown to the poskim. It doesn't make any sense in the Talmud. And not only that, no one actually knows when the molad is. Even if I tell you the molad of Mar Cheshvan is going to be Yom Rishon, Sunday at 15 hours and certain amount of halakim, and someone translated and said, well, that's about 9 a.m., 9:30 or so, you still don't know when that is. And no posek is been able to translate that because they won't be able to. What just matters is that according to this 24-hour clock, that we've lost its anchor point. We've established Rosh Hashanah before or after it's noon. Okay, that's all it meant, but you don't know when it is. This becomes a major nafkamina when the molad is actually sometime at the first half of the night. Then they tell people with confidence, we know that the 72 hours from that point hasn't happened yet. You'll go and look in your luach, you'll see the new moon. It's 3 days after the molad was approximately. But because the luach says it was Motzei Shabbos at 8 hours and 500 halakim, which is about 2 hours and 500 halakim, 8:30 or so, and it's not 8:30 yet because 72 hours haven't passed. They shouldn't be telling people that. Why? Because they don't really know that. Maybe 72 hours have passed from whenever the molad was actually. And not only that, who made up such a rule that it has to be 72 hours? Where they get that? But that's for a different time. We've already discussed that, and we'll save this file over here for those who want to see it next.
When did people
Hold on one
start
second.
when did
I have
people
to stop
start caring
sharing.
about this?
When did people start caring about this?
Yes.
Hold on. I'm trying to. It's telling me someone else is sharing the screen. But I'm the one sharing the screen. I want to stop sharing. Okay. Sorry about that. What's the question?
When did people start caring about this and start announcing the molad chronologically?
Start caring about Kabbalah?
No, this particular issue with the molad. When did people
The
start
late
announcing it?
1800s. It made it into sitters in the late 1800s. Even then, it didn't say the Gabbai tells everybody when the Molad is. I forget. Oh, I think it was Rabbi Levinger. He has an article in Hakira. Look it up. And he says he decries this minhag. It's a new thing. It confuses people. It's very new. Everybody thinks it's Chokvul Yavor. I have an old sitter where it first says Tov Ladas. Good to know. And there's still Spark sitters they're publishing where they make no mention of announcing the Molad or knowing when the Molad is. But, everybody does it, so it's like, it's a part of it. You have to tell when Rosh Chodesh is, and you have to say also when the Molad's going to be. The joke is, Etin Levina started printing something for the Gabbai to say, Rosh Chodesh will be Tuesday, Wednesday. The Molad will be, so where they're made it worse. Now they're announcing the Molad, which, as we saw it to show, the Shulchan Aruch, the Beis Yosef, would be opposed to. They're ruining it for people. They're telling them where Rosh Chodesh is before the Molad. The Akpada was, you have to know when the Molad is before you know when Rosh Chodesh is. What if you're a scholar and you like studying these things and you know anyways? You know when Rosh Chodesh is because you calculate the calendar. You calculate the calendar years in advance, like the Tour did, and like many others did, like the Rambam did. And then someone tells you, now look at each Molad for each month. Oops, I already found out what day Rosh Chodesh will be for the rest of the year before knowing when the Molad for each month was. Oops, what are you going to do? Now, why people care about Kabbalah, that's something else entirely.